Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marissa and I am the creator behind Missouri Makes. We are back for week 2 of the Stitch Sampler Mystery Cow. And so I already did my rows. I was able to get a few more done before I did section 2. We're gonna go ahead and start. Because I am using 2 different colors here, I went ahead and snipped my yarn so that I can change to my next color. But if you are using a color changing yarn or self-striping yarn, whatever it is you chose to use for this project, then you don't have to cut your yarn. This is just because I am using different colors to make my piece. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll zoom in and go on to section 2. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and say if you haven't already started the mystery cowl with us, you can always grab the pattern in my Ravelry or in my Ko-Fi. Both will be linked down in the description box below, as well as the yarn used in the project, as well as the yarn I'm using here for the sample. So let's get started. I am using my 5.5 and I've got scissors here because I had to snip my yarn. But like I said, if you're using a self-striping or a color changing yarn, you don't have to do that. I'm going to go ahead and make a slip knot, and that way it's a secure loop. And I'm going to start, this is where I snipped my yarn, and this is where I'm going to start my next row. And I'm not going to worry about my ends because at the end I will be able to hide them all at one time. So if you're changing colors like I am, then don't worry about hiding your ends. We'll hide them all at one time. So let's go on to section 2. Section 2 says to start off with a chain 2. I'm going to attach my yarn, and I'm going to chain 2. I apologize if I sound all gross. I am still fighting allergies. They are not wanting to go away. So if I sound all congested and nasally, that is why. But the show must go on. I want to get these done before I have my baby. So we are trying to get through this little by little. Chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to place a double crochet into that same stitch because the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. And then we are going to skip 2 double crochets. So skip, skip, and we're going to put a V-stitch in the third double crochet. Well, no, it's not a double crochet, it's a half double crochet, my bad. And a V-stitch consists of double crochet, chain 1, double crochet. Now, depending on the pattern you are following, you may have to put 2 chains in between each double crochet. It just depends on the designer's preference. So when you go to make another pattern with a V-stitch, you always take and make sure you look at the stitch dictionary to make sure that you are completing your V-stitch correctly. So for this pattern, we are doing double crochet, chain 1, double crochet for our V-stitch. So the next step is to skip 2, 1, 2, and V-stitch in the next, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, just like that. And you will repeat that all the way across. Skip 2, skip, skip, V-stitch into the next. So double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, just like that, all the way across. Alright, so I have made it to the end here, and I have 1 stitch left, and I am just going to place 1 double crochet into that last stitch to finish it off. Now let's go ahead and go to the next row. We're going to start with a chain 2. Alright, so we chained 2, turned our work, and now we're going to go on to the next row. And the next row says to double crochet into the same stitch. Okay, and then we're going to skip 1 double crochet, which is the double crochet of this V-stitch. and we're going to V-stitch into the chain space. So this chain 1 space here, we're going to place a V-stitch into it, which is a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet, like that. And then we're going to skip 2 double crochets, these 2 here. We're going to skip this one, and we're going to skip this one, and we're going to find the chain 1 space from the next, or from the previous row here. We're going to find the next chain 1 space, and we're going to put a V-stitch there, just like that. And we're going to do this all the way across. We're going to skip 2 double crochets, and we're going to place a V-stitch into that next chain 1 space. Let's do it again. Skip 2 double crochets and V-stitch into that next chain 1 space, just like that. You're going to repeat this all the way across until you reach the end. Alright, so I'm here at the end, and I have 2 double crochets left, this one here and this one here. It looks like I got 3 because of that chain 2, but that chain 2 doesn't count as a stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip this double crochet, and I'm going to double crochet into that last stitch, and that completes your row. Now you're going to repeat this for the amount of rows that it says in the pattern until you reach a certain number, and then we will go on to do the next row, which is our border row, which is this row here. We will do that to border our second section of stitches. Okay, so I haven't done the amount of rows specified in the pattern, but for time purposes, we are going to go ahead and go to the border row to border this off for section 3. And before section 3 gets here, hopefully I will have time to work up some more rows of this so that we have a bigger gap in between our sections. So let's go ahead and do our border row. Our border row starts with a chain 1, and you're going to half double crochet in each stitch, counting the chain 1s. So you're going to half double crochet into that same stitch as the chain 1's coming out of, because that chain 1 does not count as a stitch. You're going to go to that double crochet, and you're going to half double crochet into that stitch. You're going to find that chain 1 from the V-stitch, and you're going to half double crochet into that stitch, because that chain 1 counts as a stitch. You're going to go to the next one, or to the next double crochet, and you're going to half double in it. And you're going to do this all the way across. Let me get some yarn here, sorry. You're going to get some. You're going to take and half double crochet into every stitch, counting the chain 1s, all the way across until you reach the end. Alright, so I have half double crocheted all the way across, and I am ready to start my next row. And so to start your next row, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and we are going to half double crochet into the 3rd loop only. I'm sorry, my bad. We are going to do double crochets. So you are going to place 1 double crochet into the same stitch, and then we are going to place 1 double crochet into the 3rd loop of every stitch. So this next stitch, we are going to go into the 3rd loop, just like we did in the last border row, and create a double crochet in that 3rd loop, and we're going to do that in the next one. And we're going to do that all the way across. And it's going to create our border row. But you go ahead and do that all the way across, placing 1 double crochet in each half double crochet 3rd loop only. And I'll meet back up with you. Alright, so I'm here at the end, and I have 1 more half double crochet left, and I'm going to make it match what I did at the beginning, which is put a double crochet in the top 2 loops like a regular stitch instead of the 3rd loop. so that it matches. And then let's go ahead and flip this over. I'm going to try not to bump the camera. And there's our border row. And as you can see, the border row should be on the same side every time we do it. So that is what section 2 looks like. I hope that this video tutorial was helpful, and if you liked it, don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you never miss another video from Missouri Makes. I post a little bit of everything on this channel, including crochet and sometimes knitting, and then life stuff with the babies and husband and stuff like that. So, oh, and cooking and a little bit of everything. So I will see you for section 3.